Good day, everyone. I'm Shayla Estes, and I'm just going to quickly go over what I have gathered from everything we have done and all the assignments we have covered this semester concerning leadership, as well as what I think it takes to become an effective leader. So I hope you enjoy my PowerPoint. First off was the leadership retreat at Camp Lone Hollow. Even though we all did the same activities and listened to the same speakers, I'm sure we all had a different perspective in what we gathered from the experience. Therefore, the following slides are some of the main points I brought home with me. The following are 4 people who spoke at camp along with what I learned from each of them. Chad Katzenberger, the operations manager at Camp Lone Hollow, was the first speaker. He started off by emphasizing the importance of reading people to help others overcome their fear and to intervene when they need help to find the right direction to accomplish a task. Also, he stressed the importance of learning from every human being or situation, because what is learned today may help you tomorrow. Finally, he talked about what it takes to build a culture in order to lead others in a new direction, and this will be elaborated on later since it is such an important point. Next, U.S. Marine Derek Schwartz spoke to us for a good while. His past experiences of combat overseas were very interesting, and he provided a lot of team-building information. My take-home points from his speech were to listen to others and come to know the people on your team. And it's important to stress what it means to really listen. One of my favorite quotes by Stephen Covey explains it best by saying, "Most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply." That just made me realize how cautious I should be of my intention when I'm listening to someone else speak. Following, Mr. Elliot Valdez, an officer for the San Antonio Police Department, was gracious to come out and speak to us about leadership. I enjoyed his talk, and one thing he said that stuck with me most was the question, "Why not you?" To me, it makes sense to continuously ask ourselves this question, especially when we feel a sense of hesitation. Because at the end of the day, why shouldn't each of us be the person to make a change, lead others, or try something new? Finally, the last speaker to discuss leadership was Dr. Ron Rainwater. I thought Dr. Rainwater was a great person to listen to. His enthusiasm was special, and it was easy to tell that his passion for teaching others was very genuine. Therefore, the way he delivered his message stuck with me. I realized the importance of delivery as it is the manner in which we speak. And overall, if we have passion in our message, people will be drawn to pay attention. In addition to the way he delivered his message, Dr. Rainwater left me with an acronym to keep for a lifetime. He referred to CLATS as creative listening and authentic thinking, which are essential elements any leader should practice. CLATS summarizes the importance of listening that was previously discussed, as well as thinking authentically to overcome adversity, to help others overcome fear or accomplish a task, as Mr. Katzenberger explained. Overall, each listener was great, and I took Mr. Katzenberger's advice and learned from each of them. To continue, at the camp, we also participated in various activities, which were a scavenger hunt, burning a rope suspended above a fire, building a rope from scratch, and partaking in teamwork games. Just like the speakers, each of these activities provided a lesson which I gained knowledge from. To begin, the scavenger hunt taught me that people of an organized group assume different roles, either leader or follower, and as I participated in the other activities, I found out that the same person does not always assume the same role. Therefore, leaders and followers interchange. Furthermore, to assume the correct roles, the group must communicate effectively. The second activity, rope burn, which consisted of building a fire to burn a piece of yarn suspended in the air, taught me the importance of teamwork, keeping an open mind, and being selfless. I say these 3 things because it was apparent success is more achievable when people work together. Also, keeping an open mind is important, especially as ideas progress to achieve a goal. After all, it would be detrimental to stay on one track when a more efficient plan to accomplish a goal is apparent. Lastly, I learned the importance of selflessness and how selfless people are willing to help others succeed. The next activity involved building a rope from scratch. This activity was interesting in that no one had previous experience. Therefore, there were many times when people interchange between being a leader and a follower. Reflecting back on this activity, I discovered the importance of compromise. Moreover, it's important for a leader to compromise with others when trying to accomplish a task because not everyone has the same personality type, has the same ideas, or comes from the same cultural background. Lastly, the teamwork games required us to come up with a crest, a town history, a group handshake, and a slogan. Since this activity forced us to be creative, we had to use authentic thinking skills Dr. Rainwater discussed. I found that with each task, our creative minds processed ideas quicker and authentic thoughts became easier. Therefore, I reasoned authentic thinking gets easier with practice, thus we should always be conscious to ponder authentic thoughts. Another assignment for the completion of this course required reading two books, one to be about a leader and the other to be about leadership. Therefore, the two books shown here were the books of my choice. Leading with the Heart was about how Coach K of Duke University led his basketball teams, while the Emperor's Handbook is a more philosophical text of what Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, deemed to be important. While reading these two documents, I found both men had said pretty much the same thing. Coach K advised his players to not do anything that's detrimental to yourself, because if it's detrimental to you, it'll be detrimental to our program. Likewise, Marcus Aurelius explained that every part of the whole conforms to the nature of the whole and serves the purpose of the whole. Overall, both of these leaders agree that each individual part or person determines the amount of success or hindrance to a purpose or the whole. Next, for the interview portion, Shane Plymell, the CEO of Shannon Medical Center, was gracious enough to answer a few leadership questions for me that I had sent to him via email that will be revealed in the coming slides. Also, for the observation portion, I was able to observe him during a lecture he presented to an internship class I participated in as part of the ASU Shannon Care Coordination Program offered to pre-med students. At this time, I was able to observe how a leader has to take on different roles, such as going from an office administrator to a teacher, which he even discusses in one of his answers following. The first question I asked Mr. Plymell was if he even considers himself a leader. Not to my surprise, he does, and he even confirmed his answer by repeating some aspects of leadership I had learned at Camp Lone Hollow, including the importance of interchanging roles between a leader and a follower, which I learned from the rope building activity. In addition, Mr. Plymell reiterated that a leader must be flexible in assuming different roles, just like I had learned from the scavenger hunt. Then I asked Mr. Plymell to give his definition of leadership, and once again his answer was congruent to information I had gathered at the retreat. The last 3 points he made were exactly what the speakers mentioned. For instance, Mr. Plymell agreed with Derek Schwartz that listening is a major component of leadership, and he also mentioned building a community based on worthy values, as well as the importance of continued learning, which Chad Katzenberger had also stressed. For my third question, I asked Mr. Plymell what advice he would give a future leader, and he felt that every leader should also have a mentor. I relate this to the fact that leaders should always be learning, and mentors are usually people in which we learn from. He also mentioned that maintaining self-improvement is significant for leaders, and I would agree, as I have learned that overall awareness, including self-awareness, is an essential element to effective leadership, which will be defended in a later slide. Finally, I asked Mr. Plymell to reveal the strategy he uses to gain commitment from all the people he works with at Shannon. The overarching concept I gathered from this response is the importance of consistency. For instance, the first step in leading others is to create a direction for followers. Secondly, it is important to make sure each strategy used to guide followers does not steer anyone in an opposing direction. Lastly, developing the end goal must be consistent with the preferred strategy and direction. However, as it's important to remain consistent in directing others on one path toward an end goal, it is just as important to remain open-minded during the process because you may find it best to make a course correction at any time. In the continued process of learning about leadership, we all were asked to be a mentor to someone. Fortunately, a while back, I was asked by a mother to mentor her daughter because her daughter looked up to me. This woman was my high school counselor, and her daughter was about to be entering into junior high school. I agreed to the request, and on Sunday afternoons, I would either give the girl a tennis lesson or teach her how to shoot a basketball depending on what she felt like doing on that given day. Since I was one of the harder working athletes to come out of my small town school, I'm assuming her mother wanted me to work with her daughter and teach her how much hard work it takes to be good at sports, since she was about to enter her first year of playing competitively for school. After reflecting about the time I mentored and the more recent lessons I've learned from the speakers at the retreat and from the interview questions Shane responded to, I now realize that good leaders have great work ethics. It's apparent that all of the people mentioned in these slides put a lot of work to get where they are now, and all agree that work never stops, as continued growth and learning should never cease. Therefore, I've decided all great leaders have an impeccable work ethic. After all, it's rare to see others listening to or following lazy individuals. In addition to all other learning opportunities presented by this course, I also learned a lot from reading the course text and participating in discussion questions. A few highlights I learned from the discussions include essential elements of leadership, the importance of confronting conflict, and a good strategy to use for leading change. For the essential elements, I consider overall awareness and adaptability to be of utmost importance. First, awareness is important as it is essential to know when to be a leader or a follower, be aware of other team members' fears to help them overcome it, and be aware when the direction of the followers needs to be redirected. Furthermore, adaptability is essential for any leader to remain flexible and overcome adversity. Next, I learned the importance of confronting conflict, as it does not usually go away by just ignoring it. However, since approaching conflict can be tricky, it's imperative to be reasonable and use much thought and understanding when addressing it. Lastly, from reading the textbook, I learned of Jim Pollard's small business strategy for leading change. Just like a small business, there are 4 steps that are useful in leading a change or creating a new culture. These steps include identifying strengths, offering a unique experience, connecting with customers or followers, and remaining loyal. These are essential elements to any culture of excellence. After all that I have learned and discussed, I consider the overall goal of leadership is constructing a worthy culture. As people infect those around them, it's important to lead others to radiate positivity, put others first, and foster trust and honesty. By leading others to adopt these qualities and any other choice qualities, a leader can build a new culture for their followers. Most importantly, to succeed in creating a new culture, a leader must be consistent, stand firm, and be direct about the chosen cultural qualities. When leading others, creating a culture is so important. Both Chad Katzenberger and Shane Plymell both mentioned it. Moreover, I came across a quote that I will leave with you that explains this point best. Culture happens whether planned or not, so why not create a culture we love? If you wish to read any of the materials I got some of my ideas from for this PowerPoint, this bibliography provides a list of all the information. Thank you all for listening to my experiences and what I believe it takes to be an effective leader. Even though this is an online presentation, I still want to encourage you to ask any questions or discuss any topic